welcome everyone to this beautiful Sunday, October 6th, 2024. I have to say I came in from Windsor today and it was dreary, foggy, gorgeous because of the foliage and all the contrast, but Woodstock did it right. So I had the sun come out this morning, which is awesome. So may all who enter the sacred space feel safe, heard, seen within these walls. My name is Joanne Reichel, and I'm honored to be among you all today. Reverend Dr. Leon Dunkley will be providing the reflection today, Taking Down Defenses. If you're visiting with us, thank you for sharing your morning with us. If you'd like to stand and introduce yourselves, we really love that. Or we have a book that you can sign in the back. But no, you're very much welcome, and we appreciate you being here. So coffee service, which is a great time to visit with each other, will be downstairs in the social hall. And you'll find in your order of service a bunch of things going on. So we do have a couple of announcements. First and foremost, because I don't want to forget it, Rick Cunningham is just asking if anybody wants to go out for a walk. If they contact him, he'd love to have a walking partner, especially in these gorgeous days that we're having. And then we have, Ralph would like to make an announcement.
Good morning. Good morning. It's been almost 20 years since I stood at this pulpit. And back then, the reason I was here was with a small group of North Chapelers who had just come back from Louisiana. We had been down there for a couple of weeks to help the cleanup after Katrina and Rita. One of the things I got thinking about was how special that time had been for helping the people that were down there, but how special the time had been with our fellow North Chapel people. We could just spend a lot of time together. We got to know each other really well, and we got much closer than we had ever been before and exchanged a lot of thoughts. I got thinking about that event today or yesterday when I was thinking about covenant groups. It's the same kind of experience, and I think that people may not realize how important a covenant group can be, both socially, but also spiritually. And I would suggest to everyone, if you haven't signed up for one now, please do. In the back, there are forms to fill out, so you have a lot of preferences for times and play events so that you can pretty much pick out your own schedule, and we'll work around getting that in. Any other questions, addressed to Megan, she's sitting in the back there. And I think it's a great idea, and I think everyone should do it as much as possible. Thank you.
If you haven't read your bulletin yet, or maybe if you have, there's a wonderful community dinner a week from Saturday, and it's in a circle dinner format, but it's downstairs, and there's a movie for kids, and there's pizza for kids, and there's Halloween candy for kids, so that could be fun. So see me after the service if you plan to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We also have David Freeman. Oh, Tim.
Me first.
This is fantastic. Everything I was going to announce, you all are doing. So.
Hi, I'm Tatum Barnes, the Director of Spiritual Exploration. This here is my associate, Raphael. I am here to, first of all, share with you some good news. I am humbled and bashful to announce that I've received the Outstanding Young Professional Award in the field of Parks and Recreation. Please, no, I couldn't. Please, stop, no. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, fantastic, that's out of the way. Even worse, I was interviewed yesterday by a reporter from the Vermont Standard, that's the name of the newspaper? Yeah. So look out for some very handsome photos of myself. Later this week, I believe. With that out of the way, the more important announcement is that I am having a teacher's night or a curriculum event after church, after coffee and social hour at around 11:30. I would love to invite parents and families or anyone else who would love to know me a little bit better to pull up a chair in the social hour to hear more about my background, education, and what I hope to be teaching kiddos throughout the year. I really appreciate families' trust in me, but I do think it's important to know who the heck you're giving your kids to and what we're talking about. So please come through. Definitely targeted for parents, but anyone is invited. We're gonna have our kids in the classroom listening to a story at that time, so it's also another important break. And I'd like to invite David up for another SE announcement.
Good morning, I'm David Fryman. I'm a Our Whole Lives, or otherwise known as OWL, facilitator, a certified facilitator, and I've taught the curriculum for the children for many years, all age groups, kindergarten to first grade curriculum, 4th to 6th grade curriculum, 7th to 8th grade curriculum, and high school curriculum. We can't offer OWL right now, but during the pandemic, I taught a workshop for parents that was developed by the UUA and the United Church of Christ called Parents and actually cover the children's ears of what I'm going to talk about, SEX. So it's called Parents and Caregivers as Sexual Educators. And it's for anyone, even if you're not a parent, but maybe a grandparent or aunt or uncle who is involved with the care of the children, to come in, and it's basically a personal exploration of what your views are and attitudes and understanding of sexual education is, what your background was, and how that applies to training our children today. When I offered it in New York City, it was very enlightening and exciting to the parents to go through this once you got past the initial embarrassment. But I highly recommend. We're going to start it October 27th. There are 90-minute sessions, and there are, I believe, 12 of them, but they're not all required. You can pick and choose which topics you want to do, and you can even do it as self-study. There's a link to the document. So just wanted to offer that, let you know about it.
Our worship theme for October 2024 is strength and vulnerability. Opposites attract. Often they need each other to reach full potential. Day and night, joy and sorrow, pain and peace. When I read this, deep listening immediately came to mind. And I tend to speak from my own experiences and history. And I had a conversation, there was 3 of us in a conversation, and it was an uncomfortable conversation. And I didn't realize it at the time because I didn't come across this definition, but we experienced deep listening, and it was amazing. This will get me choked up a little bit, but we were all present. There was 3 of us of different intellectual, not levels, but specialties, wheelhouses, if you will. And we were able to sit for 2 hours and really discuss something that was dear to each of our hearts in very different ways. And when I read the definitions of deep listening, I was amazed that it came innately to the 3 of us, and realized it's innate in most of us if we're self-aware and if we're present when we're talking with someone. And just a brief definition of, or I should say what I found explaining deep listening would be, in addition to the act of listening with your ears, deep listening is a practice that involves tuning in with the heart, intuition, and presence. It can help people discover the power of inner awareness and connect more deeply with others and with themselves. I find that I was curious about what the others were saying and how it was affecting me. I was able to sit back and not react, but really think, wow, like what they just said, how did that affect me? And I took the time and didn't speak right away, which the power of silence sometimes can be just so joyful. So it helps me say less, yet when I speak, it's with more intention. I take finding a breath and refocusing my words is more intentional and not a reaction. Deep listening is an approach that can be used to help people discuss difficult topics. It's a way of listening that makes the speaker feel heard and acknowledged, so that the listener can be open to their views that they may disagree with. Deep listening involves listening from a deep, receptive, and caring place within oneself. Listening that is generous, empathetic, supportive, accurate, and trusting. You are not only allowing yourself the time and space to fully absorb what your conversation partner or partners are saying, you are encouraging them to feel safe and speak more openly and honestly. Deep listening is more than just hearing words. It's about understanding the speaker's perspective, emotions, and intentions. It involves giving your full attention to the speaker without judgment or interruption. We did find that we interrupted each other, but we realized it was out of love and passion, and we ended up getting a talking stick, and that works sometimes. So it creates a safe space for open dialogue, fosters trust, and builds stronger relationships. Deep listening allows us to earn the trust of our community members, facilitate meaningful relationships, and it fosters open and honest dialogue. So my wish today for all of us and anyone we come in contact with is that we may be able to listen deeply more often than not.
I'd like to begin this morning with a poem by a man named Michael Hedges. Gathering circles slow too soon, dancing to some forgotten tune, we weave in the sky a pattern that I can trace. Fading to taste the afterglow that's as pure as the song that you sing so low. Our senses come down, our fences come down to meet me face to face. At long last, fences do come down. So I think that there were 7 of us, I'm pretty sure, but we all went in one car. And we all probably went in Willie's van. I don't remember the driving being uncomfortable. And he loved driving us around. It was a blue van. It was open in the back, but it was finished. Finished enough to be quite comfortable, so we all piled in and left our homes in Englishtown, New Jersey, bound for the Meadowlands. Willie and me and Mike and Sean and Rob and James and Mark, and I think Chris was there in spirit. We were all headed up for the Springsteen concert. Bruce Springsteen is from New Jersey. He grew up just about in the same place where we grew up. Same hometown streets, same highways, same favorite pizza places. I never really thought about it when I was younger. It was normal, and he wasn't really famous back then, so it was easier for us to follow him. We liked being cool. We liked being in the know. We liked having the skinny, being on the down low. We liked that he was a homegrown talent, and he made us all feel that victory was possible. Now, when you grow up in places like New Jersey, it doesn't always feel like victory is possible. When you grow up in any place at all, it doesn't always feel like victory is possible, because there are demons that all of us have to fight in order to become ourselves, in order to overcome the awkwardness of adolescence, the insecurity of the teenage years, and this crazy fear I have that many of us have of being banished or abandoned or left alone. Growing up means facing all of these demons. And I thought it would be nice to be, I don't know, like 59 years old. Some age when I would have outgrown my youthful fears, my useless fears. But here I am at 59 and I still feel awkwardness and insecurity sometimes. I'm still running away from some of my demons. A couple of weeks ago, Bruce Springsteen turned 75 years young. September 23rd was his birthday. I don't keep track of things like that, but my friend Chris does. He's into it. In fact, he actually took the pilgrimage. Do you know what that means? It means that he went to the corner of 10th Avenue and E Street in Asbury Park or Belmar, wherever it is. I've never been there myself. It's just a neighborhood street corner unless you understand the references. Bruce Springsteen wrote a song called 10th Avenue Freeze Out in the 1970s. He still plays it now, and all the guys still love it. Willie, me, Mike, Sean and Rob, James, Mark, and Chris. The name of Springsteen's band back then, they called themselves the E Street Band. Their first big album was named after a postcard from the Jersey Shore called Greetings from Asbury Park. I still listen to Greetings. That album causes my soul to sing my body. I still play it super loud and air guitar it like I'm in the band. For us, there was something magical about that music. I'm pretty sure there were 7 of us, but I don't remember precisely. I do remember that the tickets were very expensive. I remember how disappointing our seats were. We were high in the bleachers. We were in what they called the nosebleed seats. I was really disappointed at first, even though I was at the Springsteen concert in New Jersey with all of my best friends. I hadn't found a way to joy. There still was a big wall in my way. I hadn't yet taken down my defenses. I was protecting myself. I had such high hopes for the concerts and I didn't want to be let down, but I was let down when the show first started. The house lights came down and the stage lights came up and I heard the piano and the harmonica. I heard the first few chords of a song called Thunder Road and I was nervous. As a crowd, we were still so wild. We were frantic and unruly. We weren't settled in enough for the beginning of the show. Deep inside, I knew we wouldn't settle in time for the opening lines. Screen door slams. Mary's dress sways. Like a vision, she dances across the porch as the radio plays Roy Orbison, who's singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me, and I want you only. Don't turn me home again. I just can't face myself alone again. Bruce Springsteen seemed to know my inner demons. He seemed to struggle against the same ones that I struggled against. I knew these words by heart. I was looking forward to hearing them live. I knew that I would sing them just so softly to myself, pairing my voice with his and harmonizing. But now I wasn't going to get the chance because the crowd was so wild. We were so frantic and unruly, too frantic, too unruly for my tastes when the song began, so I was sad. I was afraid about being disappointed, but then a little miracle happened. Everyone, and I do mean every single one of us at the concert that night, we started singing. I couldn't hear Bruce Springsteen's voice at all. I could only hear the voices of all my friends, the guys that I grew up with, and the friends, the tens of thousands of friends that I was meeting for the first time in song. St. Augustine said, "She who sings prays twice." I don't know what he would have made of that moment at the Springsteen concert. I don't know if it was secular or sacred. I don't know if there was a difference between the two at that time. When you sing from your heart like that, when you sing as if your whole life depended upon it. It was so beautiful and imperfect. It was so miraculous and mundane. It seemed like even my demons were singing along. You can hide neath your covers and study your pain, throw crosses at your lovers and throw roses in the rain. You can waste your summer praying in vain for a savior to rise from these streets. Well, I'm no hero, that's understood. All the redemption I can offer, girl, is beneath this dirty hood with a chance to make it good somehow. We've got a chance. Are we gonna take it? Or are we gonna let it go? There were 7 of us, I think, I'm pretty sure. But we all went in one car, probably in Willie's van. He loved driving us around. It was open in the back, but finished enough to keep us quite comfortable. And we sang, roll down the window and let the wind blow back your hair. This night's busting open and these 2 lanes will take us anywhere. We got one last chance to make it real, to trade in these wings on some wheels. Climbing back, heaven's waiting down on the track. We better belt in, because it looks like it's really gonna be a lovely ride. Now, let's not veer from the charted course, and let's not allow ourselves to be scared off by our demons. And strangely, let's not be overly defended against them. In taking down the defenses, his book of essays that he published in 1977, a theologian, a Unitarian Universalist minister named Arthur Foote, Reverend Arthur Foote, wrote some interesting lines. He writes about the experience that he referred to as personal disarmament. He wrote, every person should stop defending themselves. Stop defending themselves to others. And first of all, stop defending to themselves. Until one successfully puts aside one's pretenses and self-assertions, an impenetrable wall shuts that person down from the living experience of being in community. The living experience of being in community. When we were kids in youth group, we used to do this thing, we used to light the chalice. And for a while we had these prepared words that we used so that we could do it in some sort of ritual and deep and spiritual way. Until we realized that everything that was happening was rich and spiritual if you knew how to look at it. So we maintained the practice of lighting the candle whenever something beautiful happened. And something beautiful could be like someone, sharing a funny joke, or a joke that was not particularly funny. Or it could be someone tying their shoe. Just something that said, we're here and we're now, and this moment is special and alive. Arthur Foote was encouraging us to disarm ourselves. He was teaching us how to be vulnerable. He was taking down our defenses and allowing us to strengthen in community. So Reverend Arthur was teaching us how to be strong and vulnerable at the same time. He was reminding us that it's possible to make peace with our demons, but how does one do such a thing? There's an old story about a man named Milarepa. Does that name sound familiar to any of us? Milarepa was an 11th century military hero at first. He was a killer. But he had a change of heart and he became a peacemaker. He followed the way of peace. And the story goes like this. One day, Milarepa left the cage in which he was living in order to gather firewood. When he returns, he finds that the cave is filled with demons. They've totally taken over his home. They're everywhere. His first thought was, okay, now I have to face and defeat these demons. I've got to get rid of these guys. So he lunges at them and he tries to push them away. He tries to fight them and so on. He tries to force them to go away, but they are totally unfazed. In fact, the more Milarepa tries to get rid of them, the more they settle back and make themselves comfortable and at home. So he realizes quickly that he's failed miserably at fighting off the demons. His next approach, he's going to teach them the Dharma. In Hinduism, the Dharma is the eternal or inherent nature of reality, the cosmic order of things. And Milarepa wanted to teach them that the order of things meant that they needed to leave his home. So he was sharing the sort of holy, sacred message transactionally, which doesn't work, right? Okay. So Milarepa was trying to be rational. He was trying to explain to the demons why they had to leave. He tries and he talks about existence and non-existence, about impermanence and compassion and kindness, and they stare at him with these big, bulging eyes that are glazing over. Okay, so that didn't work either. So he takes a deep breath of surrender, and he gets it, that they're not going to be manipulated into leaving. So he comes to wisdom, reluctantly, and he says, okay, I'm going to find out what these demons have to teach me. I will let them be and just open myself to their teachings. And when he does that, most of the demons bow and then dissolve. All of them do except one. And so it is with our lives. There's always one core thing that doesn't give it up. One that doesn't go away too easily. And this especially fierce demon is the one that stays. So Milarepa goes further. He walks over to the demon and he says, okay, just go ahead and devour me. And he sticks his whole head in the demon's mouth. And with this, the demon bows and dissolves. The fiercest demons hold on. They don't relent. They don't let go of us. Not until we learn to face them with sacred swords and sacred shields, the swords of gentlest surrender, for we are surrendering to ourselves, and with the shields of wisdom and compassion and understanding. Understand. I really like the songs of Milarepa. I'm glad that there are so many of them, 100,000 according to this book that I have at home. That's a pretty good number of songs for a kid who grew up on Springsteen in New Jersey. For a kid who finds the sacred in the theology of a Midwestern minister named Arthur Foote, who finds the beautiful in a story about an 11th century Tibetan master named Milarepa. It's possible for us to take down our defenses. Dana just left. There's well, two stories. One is inappropriate, so I won't share it. But when, if you ever become a minister, there's this harrowing feeling that happens. Like if someone gets up to go to the bathroom, oh my God. You're like, misery. My life is over. I'm a failure at what I do. So Dana came up during the break and was like, I'm gonna go out in the middle to set up for the soup. You know, it's really fun. Only I'm embarrassed now that people know my insecurities. No, it's funny. But facing your demons and being in community with them, softening to them, allows us to become stronger. Becoming vulnerable to them allows us to become stronger. I came across this beautiful quote the other day. It was from a woman named Treba Johnson, and she writes, acceptance does not mean surrender. You know this quote? Acceptance does not mean surrender. It does not mean resignation. Acceptance means that we are finally available to the entire spectrum of creative responses. Right? When I'm unforgiven, when I'm clenched, when I'm in a non-acceptance mode, I'm kind of closed to what can happen. I don't believe in what's truly possible. What's truly possible often reveals itself in unlikely ways. I remember being mad at tens of thousands of people for being excited about being at a concert. That's somewhat unrealistic, Leon. Maybe you should just surrender to what is and sing along with them, and that we did. It was wonderful to sing with tens of thousands of terrible Jersey singers. I'll never forget that moment. And I'll never forget the song that stayed with me the most. It was a song called Racing in the Streets. And I was late this morning, so that's exactly what I was doing. Racing in the Streets is the song that inspired the picture that's on the cover of your orders of service. The first words are these. I got a 69 Chevy with a 396. Fuely heads and a hearse on the floor. She's waiting tonight down in the parking lot outside the 7-Eleven store, and me and my partner, Sonny, we built her straight out of scratch, and he rides with me from town to town. We only run for the money, we got no strings attached. We shut them up, and then we shut them down. Tonight the strip is just right. I want to blow them off in my first heat, because summer's here, and the time is right for racing in the streets. And it gets deeper when Springsteen says that some guys just give up living, and they start dying little by little, piece by piece. But some guys come home from work and wash up and go racing in the streets. I can hear the beauty in this song. I can hear the sacred in this song, consistent with the wings of an angel, consistent with the thoughts of Arthur Foote, consistent with the mastery of Milarepa. Springsteen sang, "For all you shut down strangers and hot rod angels rambling through this promised land. Tonight, my baby and me, we're gonna ride to the sea and wash these sins off of our hands." It's amazing to think that a healing power redeems us and allows us to become innocent again when we take down our defenses and meet one another face to face. So let's get a move on. In the joyful words of June and Johnny Cash, time's a-wastin'. There are plenty of evil inner demons to dissolve before the morning. What I loved about what Chris did when he went to 10th Avenue and E Street was that he chose to live inside of the art that was true to his experience. Anxious I am as a minister, knowing that my community of colleagues is driven by the Bible, by the Torah, by the Tanakh. What is it to stand in a free pulpit that is so hard won as this one is? This pulpit for which people surrendered and sacrificed their lives. And quote a rock and roll hero from Jersey. But it's a way of saying active today in our lives and everywhere around us are the things as holy now as they were at the time of the biblical happenings. And we have access to them in new and fresh ways, even now, heroically, even now, when we surrender and let the walls come down, when we take down our defenses. Gathering circles slow too soon, dancing to some forgotten tune, we weave in the sky a pattern that I can trace, fading to taste the afterglow that's as pure as the song you sing so low. The fences come down and we meet face to face. If we agree to not reach too far for beauty, we'll see that it grows about our feet. Right here and with us is all the beauty and the sacred energy that we need, all the beauty and sacred energy that ever was and will be. Touch it with the best in your heart. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.